decision, but we do not find that a basis has been laid for us to introduce Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Alliance Party into these proceedings. Now, the second question, the second issue that we have noted is that the appointment of this tribunal was publicized, and we've been aware of its existence. A number of witnesses, in fact, majority of witnesses have testified. We were told yesterday that we were only left with 2 witnesses. The choice to come into the proceedings now, when we've been aware of the existence of this tribunal, and noting that the commission to us, the mandate that was given to us, asked, among other things, that we be expeditious in the question whether or not to recommend the removal of the commissioner. Mr. Omari, with respect, we say that we cannot sanction your party's participation into these proceedings. So I wish you well. Thank you.
Chair, thank you very much. Probably in light of the directions issued by the chair, we shall be seeking for the proceedings with a view of challenging the decision of the tribunal on the grounds that we shall take instructions from our clients and see to it that fair administrative action is done and is also seen to be done. But for now, we respect the decision, we'll abide by it, but we shall be, if kindly, be facilitated with the proceedings and the ruling for us to take instructions on the way forward. Thank you very much.
Yes, we shall make great effort to make sure that you are availed the proceedings and the decision in its length as soon as possible, so that you can take whatever appropriate action that you seek to do. Thank you very much.
Much obliged.
Many thanks, Chair and members. With your permission, we are willing to call Ms. Wafula Chebukati as our next witness.
Chairman, before maybe Peter calls the next witness, I wanted to raise an issue on which arose from yesterday's evidence of the 2 commissioners, Bolu and Gulie. Mr. Chairman, if you look at the original petitions, the allegations the foundation basically of just talking generally about the press conference at Serena and maybe what happened at Bomas. And I've never had an issue with those grounds as they are. But the evidence of Gulie and Bolu yesterday, Bolu yesterday, took a new tangent. If you look at the tenor of the evidence, they were saying that my client basically wanted to deny President William Ruto the presidency. And it creates a new ground. Before, there were no such grounds in the 4 petitions filed in the National Assembly. But the evidence and the line of cross-examination by Peter Munge yesterday introduced a new angle, which forces me to raise the issue of maybe actual or apparent bias by the tribunal in view of what was raised yesterday. And I need to raise the issue of bias on how it is, and just for a few minutes. Mr. Chairman, one of the doctrines of any tribunal is the doctrine, of course, of Nemo Judex in Causa Sua. A tribunal must be impartial in its sitting. Article 51 also gives my client the right that she ought to appear before a tribunal that's impartial. But now, once this angle was introduced yesterday, it endangers the liberty of my client. And I want to raise at this early opportunity. The Gazette notice that the established tribunal, Mr. Chairman, appointed Caroline Kamende Daudi as the commissioner, as a tribunal member, and she's your vice. Emmanuel Gibet as the joint secretary, and my friend Peter Munge as the lead counsel. The way this tribunal is constituted, Mr. Chairman, is the commissioners and the joint secretary and the lead counsel is one and the same. It's not like a normal court where the prosecutor is independent body. But a tribunal in its setting is that the commissioner, the commissioners, the joint secretary, and the lead counsel is one and the same. They work together. And that's the danger now, where it lies. Mr. Chairman, Caroline Kamende Daudu is actually my good friend. And she can tell you that when she was running to be the vice president of LSK, I supported her and the president, Nelson Harvey. And they won. And they remain my good friends. But during the Supreme Court decision, Caroline Kamende Daudi acted for the president. And she was part of the legal team. And I know and I'm aware that my friend also, Linda Kiome, whom I'd never met before, but we've worked together before, ran for she was running to be the deputy governor for Meru in a UDA ticket. My friend Emmanuel Kibet, again, I never met Kibet before until this tribunal. But his business partner, Professor Githure Kindiki, is my friend. When Githure wanted to begin practice, legal practice, from being a professor in the university, he actually came to see me and we had a discussion, and I assisted him in setting up his law firm. So he's been my friend. But I'd never met Kibet. But I now know that Kibet is his legal partner. And Kibet is a joint secretary in this tribunal. And the Office of the President plays a very crucial role in this tribunal. It's the one that facilitated the setting up of this tribunal. And I know of my knowledge, that's the one that's still financing the tribunal. Lastly, my friend Peter Munge, whom I've known forever since I began practice, is a partner of my classmate, Honorable Muriu, who is the MP for Gatanga. I've done so much work with also Muriu as lawyers in different transactions. Muriu, other than being the UDA MP for Gatanga, is a legal secretary of UDA. And he was also part of the legal team for the president in the Supreme Court. Peter comes from that law firm. So my issue, Mr. Chairman, seeking your guidance, I'm not asking that they step down, but I'm inviting them to examine their conscience and whether they will give my client impartial hearing and justice, that they will not be biased. Some could be actual biased, like my friend Caroline Daudi, because she was part of the legal team. But from Linda, Peter, and Emmanuel, it could be apparent bias, because they were indirectly associated with UDA. But Ms. Daudi was directly associated with UDA. Mr. Chairman, Julius Caesar everyone knows Julius Caesar. Is one of the greatest rulers ever in history. His wife Pompey, there were rumors in Rome that his wife was sleeping with a nobleman. There was no evidence. But Julius Caesar divorced his wife because he said the emperor's wife must be above suspicion. So I'm asking Mr. Chairman that if there is suspicion by the public that Ms. Daudi, Linda, Peter, Emmanuel will be biased against my client, because there's evidence from yesterday is that Ms. Irene Masit wanted to stop President William Ruto from being president. There's a great danger, Mr. Chairman. I seek your guidance and directions.
Listen to you. One, you are saying that even as you say the many things you're saying, first of all is evidence which shouldn't be coming from you. You can swear an affidavit because you're saying you have personal knowledge of these things. And so ideally one should have seen an application for recusal, but you are saying, I've just listened to you, you don't want recusal, but you're asking that people should just examine their conscience generally. So we leave it at examining conscience. But I think, Mr. Donald, either you want recusal or you don't want. Because what would be the reason of saying the things that you are saying? But secondly, at what point does it become known to you? And I've just been listening to you. You said you know Munge, you say you know Linda, you say you know Kamende, you know all these people. At what point does it start appearing to you that there's bias? Now, but more important, and I've just told Dunstan, you know, the evidence that is tendered here, if it doesn't relate to petitions that were filed and the grounds in the petitions, it's just that, isn't it? Because we are limited in our dealing with the questions at hand on what is it that was complained against your client and whether those complaints have been substantiated, sufficient enough for us to make a determination one way or the other by way of recommendation. So I hear you to be saying, examine your conscience. You don't represent Kenyans, you represent a client, a specific client who has a name. So that we can make progress, I will ask that we proceed. But your point has been made, Council.
Mr. Chairman, you asked me when I got to know. As I said,
I don't want us to get into that discussion. I was just saying.
No, because you're asking me.
I wasn't asking okay, because fine. I want. It's rhetorical.
Okay.
Well, I want us to proceed.
Thank you, Chair. We are also taken aback by, political statements at times made for purpose of headline tomorrow, but we are ready with our witness. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, they're not political statements. I am saying they are not political statements. They arose from yesterday's evidence. So, yeah.
When you sat and reflected on that evidence, because the evidence was being tendered in your presence, you could simply have said, stop that evidence because it's not contained in the petitions, isn't it? You sat through, you let it come through, and then now, a day later, you're saying, let's go back to that evidence. If you want it expunged from record, you will make an appropriate application in that regard. Thank you. Thank you.
I swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I'll give before this tribunal shall be the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Mr. Chair and members, our last witness is Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the immediate former chair of IEBC. And for the record, there are 3 lawyers who are present: Mr. Eric Gumbo, Mahat Somane, and Moses Kipkogei, who are watching brief. Kindly, sir, could you kindly introduce yourself, your full names, and up to, I think, a few days ago, what was your position in IEBC?
Yeah, thank you. Chair, my name is Wafula Chebukati. I was appointed to the IEBC as chairperson by Gazette notice dated 18th January 2017, and assumed office on the 20th of January 2017 after swearing in. And my assignment as chairperson ended on the 18th of January this year.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Wafula, in terms of your profession, kindly explain your profession prior to being chair of IEBC, what you've been doing for a living.
Yes, I'm a lawyer by profession, having qualified and signed the roll of advocates on the 17th of November 1986. And thereafter, I practiced law for a period of about 30 years before joining the commission in various law firms.
Right. And so you are a lawyer of about 37 years of practice.
I have 36 practicing certificates.
36 years. Thank you. Practicing certificate. Thank you very much.
36 years, yeah.
Now, you remember swearing a statement rather, before this tribunal, and you can kindly take us. It's in page 1 of Chair and Members, volume 2 of the bundle of witness statements, page number 1.
Yes, I swore a statement dated 13th December 2022 for purpose of filing this tribunal.
Right, and that statement, I want to go through it just very briefly, then we go to the other documentations. As at the time you were swearing this statement, were you still in office in the commission?
Yes, I was still in the commission as a chairperson.
At the time, you're still the chairperson.
Yes.
And looking at your statement, you annexed a letter, page number 2. Can you kindly explain so that it's clear you've not just come to an attack mode to fellow former commissioners?
Yes, I received a letter from yourself requesting I and other commissioners from the IEBC to come and be witnesses in these proceedings. And I responded by this letter dated 13th December 2022. Do I read the letter?
It's page number 2, the same document, just to look.
Yes.
Yes, to see that, that's your response.
This is my response.
Very well. And let's go back to your statement, sir. I'm looking at paragraph 4. You said you would rely on 3 affidavits. What are those 3 affidavits there?
The 3 affidavits I said I rely on is the one, number 1, the one sworn on 26th August 2022 and filed on 27th August 2022 in presidential election petition number E005 of 2022.
Now, as you answer, look at the big volume, Mr. Chair and members, volume 4, page number 202. Confirm that is the affidavit. It starts at page 202 and it goes all the way to 228 before the annexures. Sorry, it's the one on 353, 353, the Raila case. 353.
Yes, this is the affidavit E005 of 2022.
This is the affidavit in E005.
Yes.
This is the case of the
the Raila Odinga and Mother Wangari Karua
Yes.
and IEBC.
Now we go to page 380. same affidavit, you swore it on which day? As beneath paragraph 117.
3
after paragraph 117 beneath it? The place where you swore the affidavit and signed.
Yes, the date is 26th day of August 2022.
Yes. Now, let's go back to your statement, the second affidavit.
The second affidavit sworn on 27th August 2022 and filed on an even date, that's the same date, being presidential election petition number E002 of 2022.
Now, go to the big bundle, page number 1. 1 all the way to page number 34. Confirm that that is the affidavit.
Yes, this is the affidavit filed in that matter E002.
Right. The third affidavit.
This is the one sworn on 27th August 2022 and filed before the Supreme Court on the same date, that is the 27th of August, in presidential petition, election petition number E003 of 2022.
Right. Now, look at page 202. 202, and there is a cover page. 203 is the first page of the affidavit.
Yes.
It's deponed on page 227. That is the affidavit.
This is the affidavit.
Thank you very much. Now, you're aware that the matter was concluded before the dispute that was before the Supreme Court was concluded?
Yes, I'm aware.
And you are no longer chairman?
Yes, I exited.
You exited?
Yes.
After good service there. Thank you. Now, do the facts change or do you rely on the same facts?
I rely on the same facts, exactly as stated in the affidavit.
And in this matter, your word is different from the dispute before Supreme Court?
Yes, I'm aware.
Thank you very much. Now, you say that you are appointed as commissioners persons to a specific article of the Constitution? You have the Constitution?
No, I don't know.
I'll give you that and come back to the IEBC is constituted persons to Article, I believe, 88.
Article 88 of the Constitution, 88.4 is what constitutes the IEBC.
It constitutes the IEBC.
Yes.
And as commissioners, are you constitution office holders or what?
Yes, we are constitution office holders among the Chapter 15 commissions.
Right.
Yes.
Now, Article 248, 249, 250. Does that apply to IBC?
Yes, it's Article 249 applies to the IEBC.
And Article 250?
Yes.
And Article 250, Sub-Article 9, it says, and I read, a member of a commission or holder of an independent office is not liable for anything, and I emphasize, done in good faith in the performance of a function of office. You are aware of that proviso?
Yes.
And you are aware then that Article 259 is the basis under which this tribunal was constituted and appointed?
Yes, I'm aware.
Now, are you, as commissioners, liable for acts where found they are not in good faith?
Sorry, repeat the question.
I've read Article 259.
Yes.
What of acts done not in good faith?
Well, then one has to take responsibility for their actions. If you act in bad faith, against your oath of office, then you take responsibility for that action.
Is it a whole responsibility as a commissioner or a personal responsibility?
Sorry?
You take personal responsibility?
Yes.
Very well. Now, I want to go through the facts that you deponed in the affidavit, one slowly, and we'll go to the big bundle, volume 4, and I'll deal with the first affidavit, the one of Youth Advocacy Africa, and Peter Kureka as the petitioners. You have that?
Yes, I have it.
Now, you are aware of the issues in this petition?
I will, of course, listen to the petitions. I perused them briefly, and I'm aware of some of the issues.
Some of the issues.
It may not be all, yeah.
And in this affidavit, if I'm correct, you talked about the conduct of elections, the processes that led to, and the system and all that that relates to the elections.
That's correct.
Right. And I will then not then rely on that affidavit. I'll go to the second affidavit, Halifa case.
Yes, I'm there.
You're there. It starts on page 203. Now, if you look at that affidavit, if you look at page 208, you talked about procurement,
Yes.
not related to the tribunal. Page 209, you talk about voter registration.
Yes.
Page 210, you talk about voter education.
Yes.
Page 211, you talk about technology.
Yes.
Page 211 to 212, you talk about result path verification and tally.
Yes.
Now, all through until around paragraph 64, at no point does it appear to be a disjointed commission or a dispute amongst commissioners. Kindly confirm or explain that.
As in relation to all these processes
Yes.
that happened up to and after, up to election,
Yes.
yes, there was no disjointed commission. We worked as a commission following the law and the procedures laid down.
And we go then to paragraph 71, is where now we start seeing challenges amongst or within the commission.
Yes.
Rule 71 on the date of the 15th of August 2022.
Yeah.
So prior to 15th August, how was your relationship as commissioners and in particular with Commissioner Irene Masit?
As a commission, we were, of course, appointed from 2017. The team chair and 6 commissioners. 4 of them resigned, and we were 3 who then we proceeded to work, and we were joined by 4 commissioners on the 2nd of September 2021. And of course, when they came in, we brought them up to speed, and we worked very well. The relationship was good. I ran an open door policy as a chair, and any commissioner with an issue, including Commissioner Masit, always walked to my office if there was an issue. So there were no problems.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, I've read through from paragraph 71 all through and the issues, and I believe let's tackle them in the affidavit in the case of Raila Odinga and Mother Karua, because there you've expounded them further. So let's go to the third affidavit. And we'll deal in this affidavit for quite a while. And you'll start by your introduction, paragraph 1 and 2. And you talked about your position in paragraph 2. Clarify that position.
Yes, in paragraph 2, I state that in my capacity as chairperson of the commission, I was the returning officer for presidential elections held on the 9th of August 2022.
And you have put a
more role of a returning officer. Presidential is just one election, but we have other returning officers running all the 6 elections we carry on. Returning officer's job is to ensure that all the processes relating to elections, from nomination up to nomination of candidates up to declaration of results, is met.
My emphasis
Yes.
is on the presidential returning officer.
Yes.
So what was your role there? Presidential returning officer.
Alongside the commission, the distinct roles involved nomination of candidates, issuing candidates with certificates to enable them contest in the elections, as well as declaration, final declaration of results.
And final declaration.
Not that I know of. There's no such legal requirement, and it would be a recipe for chaos if that were the case.
And in this case,
Yes.
being the returning officer for the presidential elections, were you working in liaison or assisted by commissioner or staff? Because I believe you are not a one-man team.
Yes, I worked very closely with the commission being the secretariat and the commissioners.
And the commissioners.
Yes.
Right. Let's jump all the way up to paragraph 12. That 12 and 13, you did introduce that when the Commissioner Irene Masit was appointed.
Yes.
And I believe you had already mentioned the date there,
Yes.
which was, I believe, 1st September 20.
The Gazette notice was 1st September, but I remember she was sworn in office on 2nd September and reported on duty on that day.
And she reported on duty on that day.
Yes.
And after that, her appointment with the rest was a commission fully constituted?
Yes.
Right. And a commission, you've confirmed that you are constitutional office holders.
Yes, we were until when we exited office.
And there are specific expectations for you as when you are constitutional office holders.
Yes.
Right. And you are aware that the removal is pursuant to Article 251 of the Constitution.
Yes.
Now, I want us to go briefly on the grounds that were set out in the affidavits and were reiterated in the petitions filed before the tribunal. And I'll go to part 3 of the affidavit from paragraph 36.
Of
That's the affidavit.
okay.
And emphasis is only on the presidential elections. Now, 36 to 38, you are talking about what here?
In 36, we are saying the presidential election results were relayed and transmitted to the National Tallying Center as outlined in the results path published by the Commission pursuant to Section 39 and Regulation 87.
This, you're talking about the issue of transmission all the way to paragraph 38.
Yes.
Now, when all this was on the issue of transmission, was there any dispute amongst the commissioners?
On the issue of transmission,
Yes.
there was no dispute. This results path was approved by the Commission.
Yes.
I remember in a plenary meeting we had somewhere in Mombasa,
Yes.
and it was published.
It was published.
Yes, and transmission then went on without any problem, and there was no issue.
And the transmission went on until which day?
Well, transmission of Form 34As commenced immediately after polling and counting. And I think within the 48 hours after the 9th of August, we had almost 99.8 transmission.
99.8%?
Yeah, 99.98% transmission of Form 34As happened within 48 hours from polling and counting.
Was there any breaches of the law in respect to the issue of transmission?
Not that I'm aware of.
Was there any issue or dispute raised by Commissioner Irene Masit?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right. We move, sir, to part 4, which starts at paragraph 39. And you then introduce a place called Bomas of Kenya. Kindly tell us what was Bomas of Kenya. Was it ever gazetted and why?
Yes, as you know, our officers at advisory towers don't have sufficient space. A presidential election being a huge operation, we then, the commission procured the Bomas of Kenya as a tallying center. And after the procurement, then we officially gazetted it as a national tallying center.
It's a national tallying center.
Yes.
And what's the purpose and why was it gazetted as a national tallying center?
The purpose is it's a legal requirement that you must have, the tallying center must be gazetted and running to all the other 5 we normally gazette tallying centers, so that candidates and the interested persons know where the tallying will take place. It's a legal requirement. And that's why we gazetted it.
All right.
Yes.
And the tallying is done, what beyond tallying, is any other things done at the national NTC?
Yes, it's an operation. We talk of verification, tallying of results, and final declaration of the winner of that election, or final declaration of results. All those activities happen at national tallying centers, but they can't happen in isolation. Of course, it's a whole operation. Okay. And there are many people, there are many players, so a lot of other activities happen.
Right. And
yes.
I don't say this in jest, but you will hear mention of Nairobi Serena Hotel and other places. I believe you have only one national tallying center.
The national tallying center was at Bomas of Kenya, and there's no other national tallying center for purpose of 2022 general elections.
Purposes of 2022 general elections. Now, we go to the next point. You talk about what you did to enhance transparency, and this you start at paragraph 42 all the way to 45. And the issue of verification, I can bet it will come up in cross-examination. And I need you say you did it in an open way, and I would want you to explain the processes done in verification and how you managed it as the chairman of the IEBC.
Yes, first we gazetted the results path. Secondly...
So what was the result path?
The result path is, as per the Gazette notice laid out in paragraph 37, which runs up to paragraph, yes, the entire paragraph 37.
Yes.
Would you like me to go through it?
Just very briefly, so
yes,
that we flow together.
So, election takes place at the constituencies and at the polling stations. For purpose of presidential election, the voting and counting is done at the constituency. I mean at the polling station, and then we have Form 34A filled by the presiding officer and signed by the presiding officer and the agents. And once that is done, the form is scanned and transmitted to the National Tallying Center and the Constituency Tallying Center. And we had a copy of the same going to the public portal. So that is the genesis of the election.
Before you move, in the affidavit of the first affidavit, you talked about technology and the basis why it had to go to the public portal. Kindly explain.
Yes, so for purposes of the election, we then set up a public portal to ensure that all the results are deposited in the public portal, and anybody who wishes to interact with the results, not just Kenyans but the whole world, would have an opportunity to interact with the results.
Did that portal have a password, or are you saying every citizen of this great republic and any person anywhere in the world could access it?
Yes, we did not have a password for the portal. You just log in IEBC and you get into the portal. What we ensured is that we have sufficient firewalls so that those who intended to penetrate or crash it would not be able to. And I believe many people interacted with the portal. From the records we have, we had 386 million people worldwide interacting with the portal, and about, I think, mostly from Kenya, there were about 300, but the 80 million were from the rest of the world.
Right. So you're saying 386 million?
Yes, interacted.
In a country of 50 million interacted with the portal?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to paragraph 42. Let's go to, you are explaining now the verification, how it was done. Yes.
So the verification was done in line with the results path, and at the Bomas of Kenya, then we set up in the auditorium various desks which were to carry out the verification. And this then was done in an open and transparent manner.
As it was done, do you know when it started?
We got, I think, we set up the desks way before the election date, and the first results came in, I think, from the 10th of August.
10th of August?
Yeah, 10th of August, yes.
It involved who in particular? Only IEBC officials or commissioners?
The desks had IEBC officials with agents. Each desk has an IEBC official who had to deal with the data. We had the agents of the 4 presidential candidates, and we had also, then there's a chair for the returning officer when he comes. He or she comes from the constituency to present the results. So that was the composition of the desks at the auditorium.
So in the process, once you verify, what would happen? Which you've explained.
Yes. First, what were we verifying? Yes. We had the results in the portal, in the scanned form 34A. Then we had results now at the constituency. The constituency returning officer collects all the result from 34As from all the polling stations, fills from 34B, and then brings it to the National Tallying Center. So at the National Tallying Center, the team was looking at what was in the portal versus the original Form 34As brought in by the returning officer as against the 34B. And if there are any errors, mostly errors were around the populating of 34B, then the error forms were filled, and the result forms then were not, none could be changed to just fill the error forms. And those error forms were all then submitted to the commission. So the team was verifying all these results, and once the verification was done and everybody's happy, then the results are posted. The Form 34As are populated into Form 34C by another team that was sitting on the auditorium, the ICT team. So then Form 34C would automatically be generated. Yes.
Thank you. Now, when you say it's automatically generated, I need you to explain what you mean and whether it was then in a place where the public would view.
Yes, all the desks were in the open. In this auditorium, we had observers, we had members of the public who were accredited to be present, and it was in an open place. Even the ICT team was seated in the auditorium on their own desk.
Now,
So it's an open process.
were the commissioners kept in the dark, or were they aware or involved in any way?
All,
And if so, how?
Yes. I say all the 6 commissioners were with me in the auditorium right from the beginning, and they were all over the auditorium assisting in the exercise of tallying and verification.
Okay. And as the verification was happening, we could see announcements being made by commissioners. Kindly explain how that was happening.
Yes, the constituency returning officer, after going through the process and the verification, which was very, very thorough, by the way. I remember in the beginning it took a lot of time because of the scrutiny of those 34As and 34Bs.
Mr. Chairman, you
Yes.
know, when you say it was very thorough, Queen's English, probably now King's English, it's good to explain when you say it was very thorough. What do you mean?
Because all the agents had a chance to look at all the forms, and if there was any issue, then it will be brought to our attention as a commission and is resolved before that result is announced. Then the commissioners would go and announce the result. I announced the first result. I think that was will be East, and then the rest were done by the commissioners.
So you are saying it was thorough,
Yes,
involved everyone,
yes,
the commissioners also?
yes. Everybody was involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there any point where, and I mean particular, Commissioner Irene Masid came and said, this, what you have verified as the results, looking at the portal or what was scanned at the polling station, is a problem or is not correct?
I'm not aware of any such issue being raised by Commissioner Masit about the results being or not being correct.
Not being correct.
Yeah.
And this announcement you're saying you did the first one. Who did the other announcements? And how many announcements were there if you have the numbers or you know have how many were remaining? Who were doing them?
We have 291 returning officers for the 2022 general elections, presidential elections, and all the rest of the announcements for the results was done by the commissioners. I don't have figures as to who announced how many, but the rest of the commissioners did the announcement.
We will get to the point where Commissioner Irene Masit appears to have an issue, but did she make announcements herself?
Yes, she did. She announced quite a number of constituency results for presidential election.
And during her announcement, did she raise any issue? You are asking me to announce this. I have a problem. Was there any issue raised?
Not from Commissioner Masit. Maybe the other commissioner, one had an issue with the depilation of results, and we resolved it, and they went back and announced the correct result. I think that was Commissioner Nyangaya.
In one area?
In one area.
One
constituency.
291?
Yes.
But nothing from Irene?
Nothing from Commissioner Masit.
Right. We move to paragraph 47, 46, flowing 46. Now, we then move to 47, all the way to 52. You say there was a slow progress, right? And you talk about changes done. And I need you to explain, was it a single, you solely making changes or proposals? Was it a commission, or how did you resolve this?
Yes, we had a workflow plan which had been put in place, and after the first 3 days, we realized we had only done about 35 to 40 constituencies. Then we realized, given the constitutional timelines, which require that we complete the exercise within 7 days, we realized we would not be able to finish this exercise at that slow pace. So we called for a commission meeting, an informal meeting. We had many meetings, by the way, on every issue that arose. And we agreed that we change the format of doing things so that we increase the number of verification desks to 14 from 7, 14 or 15. And then also we change the format so that we could fast track the process. We had returning officers from the constituents just sitting there for 2-3 days, and we had not been able to filter them. So we had to change the format, and it worked.
And this, you say we held a meeting. What do you mean by we held a meeting?
I and the commissioners had a meeting with the CEO, and we decided to change the format. And we also invited the agents of the candidates to brief them on the changes.
Was there any challenge or dispute from the agents?
No, but everybody agreed with the format, and we proceeded with the exercise.
Was there any issue raised by Commissioner Irene Masit?
None whatsoever.
Was she part of the solution?
Yes, she was.
Right. Now, through the evidence, we'll hear about some committees or commissioners you had given appointed to do specific tasks.
Yes.
Was that correct?
Yes.
Were there any who were supposed to oversee this issue of verification and the like?
Yes, for purposes of the verification, all commissioners participated in the exercise of verification and tallying, but as part of governance, you cannot just have everybody doing everything. Bombers was a huge operation. And so it put in place a mechanism where commissioners would oversee certain functions. And this then was in preparation for the tallying and the period of tallying itself. So I set up committees as part of corporate governance for each management of the center, and for purposes of the coordinating activities in the National Tallying Center, Professor Gulier and Hussein Marijan and a team of staff were in charge of that operation.
And was there a role for Commissioner Irene Masit?
Yes, Commissioner Masit and Commissioner Wanderi were put in charge of security and welfare. What do I mean by security? As a commission, of course, we have to work with the National Police Service and other operations where we have security not just for the center, but this was security for the whole country, where we deployed over 100,000 police officers to man the elections. And all the complaints were ending up at the commission. And so this was security and welfare of staff. Then we had also Commissioner Molu and Vice Chairperson Juliana in charge of a media center and the call center. So those were the major areas of operation.
And as you set up these committees and put together your commissioners and staff to assist, were there any problems or any challenges, especially from Commissioner Irene Masit?
There were no challenges from the rest, except Commissioner Masit came and told me she can't work with Commissioner Wanderi. She wants to be her own team. So I split the security and welfare and gave her the welfare part, and Commissioner Wanderi handled the security.
That split is where I was getting to
Yes.
know whether it was out of the blue or it was a request.
It was a request. And Commissioner Wanderi also came and said, I can't work with Commissioner Masit.
Okay.
And so I said, okay, fine. So we...
All right. We will not go to the reasons, yes, but yeah. You just split because you wanted your commission to work.
I just wanted a smooth operation.
And
yes.
As they worked pre-15th August, did any of them raise any issues?
Not as it relates to the operation of bombers. If they had any issue, then it was not brought to my attention.
Any issue, it was then brought to your attention?
Yes.
We are aware there were some announcements that were pending, several, I think 20-something, before issues arose. You remember?
Yes, there were 27 constituency results which had been verified on the night or the morning, the night of 15th, or the morning of 15th, but they had not been announced.
Now, before the announcement, were those the last ones?
Yes, those were the last ones.
Those are the last ones?
Yes.
So you had done a good percentage in terms of verification?
Yes, out of 291, those 27 were the last ones.
Out of 291, 27 were remaining?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get the percentage shortly, which is just above 10%, or thereabout.
Yes.
Now, on all the others, save for this 27, did anyone raise, especially the Commissioner Masit, raise any issue?
There was no issue raised by Commissioner Masit on any of the results that were announced.
In terms of the forms, the way the forms were filled, the validity of the forms, especially 34C, was there any challenge, any issues raised by Commissioner Irene Masit?
None whatsoever.
All right. Now, we go to where issues started, and we go to paragraph 58, which also appears in the petition by Reverend Tumbi, and also for Langat, paragraph 58. Is, at 55, you mentioned about attempts to subvert the will of the people as an introduction.
Yes.
You're there? And I would be happy to know why you headed it that way. Attempts to subvert the will of the people. And you are a very, very senior lawyer, senior to both myself and Donald, and here. And probably as a lawyer, it would be fair to ask, when you talk about subverting the will of the people, vis-a-vis what the Constitution expects of you. Kindly explain.
The Constitution of Kenya is very, very clear on what our system of elections through, democracy. And we, as a commission, were put in place to ensure that Kenyans then express their will, which is through the ballot, and that we then announce the winners of those particular elections. This then brings me to Article 81 of the Constitution, which is 81A, which is very clear. It requires that we remain independent and that the election conducted is transparent, we conduct it in a transparent, impartial, neutral, and efficient manner, which is also accountable. So as a commission, we are referees, and as a referee, then you expect that you do your work fairly to everyone. And so these activities, which were listed here, were then attempts to divert the commission from what the Constitution expects of us.
Were they then attempts to breach or violate the Constitution?
Yes, definitely, because the Constitution expects of the Commission to be independent, treat all candidates fairly, be independent and transparent, and all those things that are listed in Article 81E. Now, anything short of that, then it negates what is expected. And we also have Article 249, which is also clear that we ought to do our work without, in accordance with the Constitution, and without interference from anyone. And also our oath of office is very, very clear. It reiterates all those things.
Right.
Yeah, so then whatever activities listed here are then diversions that would have made us be party to subverting the will of the people.
You've talked about your oath of office.
Yes.
And before we go to the circumstance, what exactly happened, what is expected of your oath of office as commissioners of IEBC?
First, we swear to uphold the Constitution and the laws, the relevant laws. And of course, it reiterates, it's in sync with Article 249, which says we only obey the Constitution and the law, and not any individual authority. And that is then expounded by Article 81E as to then carries the issue of impartiality. and independence.
What
That a
then
commission then, a chair and commission is expected to be impartial and independent, and the commission in general.
Then if
Yes.
that's the oath of office, what then if you commissioners of commissioners then support attempts to subvert the will of the people?
Then we would have simply acted against the constitution, and he should be held to account if one
Acted against
goes
the
outside his oath of office.
It's gone outside oath of office.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I will jump at paragraph 57 because the people mentioned there are not here. I'll go to paragraph 58. Now, there was an incident at 3 a.m. on the 15th of August when you visited by some people mentioned there.
Yes.
3 a.m., had you slept or were you working through the day and through the night?
We were working 24/7. For the 5 days, I never went home to sleep.
You never went home?
Yes, I went home only to refresh and change and come back.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were working day and night, and most of the commissioners were also there, maybe one or two to go rest and come, and it's so like we just had to work.
Now, you say that somebody contacted you that you had these guests.
Yes.
Kindly explain who contacted you, and you talk about several attempts. Kindly explain. Paragraph 58.
Yes, the auditorium and the holding room are adjoined, and we are also operating from the holding room, working from there. And then I got messages from members of staff, from my security detail, that this gentleman and commissioners, that this gentleman wanted to see me. And this was around that time. So then they came in. Actually, I didn't say yes, they should come in, but they came in just like that, uninvited. They just walked in.
And where you were in the boardroom, the office?
I was in the holding room.
Okay.
I had actually told my CEO I'll take a nap for 1 hour and wake me up around that time, but I was woken up by this gentleman instead.
So you are sleeping and some
yes,
gentleman wake you up?
On my chair, yes.
Now, because one of the gentlemen will come in later with a meeting with you somewhere out of the NTC, that first person, who was he?
That is Honorable Wafula Chebukati. He was at that point in time a cabinet secretary in the previous government, and he just he came there on behalf of the Azimio party.
And did Azimio have a presidential candidate?
Yes, it had a presidential candidate and also a chief agent.
They had a chief agent?
We had agreed that any issues which involves candidates should be raised by chief agents.
All right. So
yes.
This is somebody from the Azimio camp. There was a senator also.
Yes, Senator Amos Wako, former Attorney General, was also in the group.
All right.
Among the 3 people.
Okay. Let me not mention my colleague. Now, these people, you are saying...
Excuse me. You can't choose whom to mention, whom not to mention. So if
okay, very well. So choose the third person.
It's not me.
Very well. The third person?
The third person is Advocate Kialo Mbobu,
Yes.
who introduced himself as such. Yes.
Introduced himself as an advocate.
Yes.
Right. Now, you then say that the attempt was to discuss tallying and results.
Yes.
How did you know that this is what they wanted to discuss?
They introduced the purpose of the visit, that they wanted to discuss about the tallying and ongoing process, and I then told them if that's the case, then I'll ask the commissioners to join us in the meeting because it's a matter then that would involve the whole commission.
Why didn't you discuss with them? They've found you, they've come to see you.
The election operation is not the chairperson's operation alone. It's the commission then that would make any decision as to matters that relate to the entire election. So in all these matters that affect elections, I've always taken the liberty as chair to invite commissioners if there are issues to discuss. And this is what I adopted throughout the Bomas time and even before.
There must be a bigger reason why you didn't want to meet them alone.
3 a.m. in the morning and 3 gentlemen to discuss elections, I think that was reason enough.
That was reason enough?
Yes.
Right. And you then say that the commissioners joined you in paragraph 58, 59, and you talk because you're not operating a vacuum. I need you to say at what time did these others join you and where did they join you?
The commissioners were on the floor of the auditorium doing what they were doing, participating in the tallying and verification, and it just took a minute or two for them to come and join us.
So they joined you in the holding place?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Was Commissioner Irene Masit one of them?
Yes.
So she was present?
Yes, she was present.
She was present in this meeting?
Yes, I'm sure.
Now, you then go on to explain in paragraph 59 and 56, and of concern is where you talk about moderation in paragraph 60. Yes. I need you to explain what was this request and what did they mean by saying moderation?
In 59, the first to speak was Senator Amos Wako, who said that as former Attorney General, remember elections were at some point managed in the Attorney General's office, and Attorney General's office was very, very powerful as regards the election. He said we should not operate in a vacuum. We should look at the bigger picture for the country, and as former election supervisor, then when you reach this kind of situation, you can moderate results and achieve stability of the country. Then we had also Honorable Tuchu spoke. He said that it was necessary that we moderate these results in favor of Baba, and that any contrary declaration of results would plunge the country into chaos.
Okay, so because these proceedings are recorded, when you say in favor of Baba, what do you mean?
I understood Baba to mean the Asmio presidential candidate, because that's what they call him.
Who was who?
Raila Odinga.
Raila Odinga.
Yes.
So the moderation was to be in favor of Raila Odinga.
Yes.
And you then flow to the issue of runoff in paragraph 60. Can you explain?
You said that in the alternative, if it was not possible to moderate the results in that manner, then we should ensure that there is a runoff.
How?
He didn't say how. I also don't know how that would be done.
Okay, what about moderation? Did you know how it was to be done?
I had no idea how it would, because the elections reflect the will of the people, and as I said, from 34A is announced at the polling station and transmitted to the portal. So any form of moderation would not be possible.
So without sounding political, what you're saying is coming from bottom up, or from the polling station up to the National Tallying Center.
Yes, I believe if this gentleman knew the transparent system we had put in place, perhaps they would not have made this visit. Because at the end of the day, the results were already out there in the portal. So, and any attempt to change them would result into a lot of other problems.
Well, you've just said if these guys had known what we had set up, what do you mean?
I'm saying they were talking as if the thing of the old days when we didn't have transmission of results into the portal, where elections then were not that transparent. But the systems were put in place were such that these suggestions they were making would not be possible.
Did the constitution of this great republic envisage or permit a situation where you could moderate results in a presidential elections?
Absolutely.
Or change to permit a runoff?
Absolutely not. Not the 2010 constitution, and not even the previous constitution, if I remember.
Right. Now,
Yes.
as at 3 a.m. this time, had you gotten the final results after the verification of all?
We had not got the final result, but most of the verification and tallying had been done. But we had not got the final result.
So did you, as Wafula Chebukati, the chairman, know for a fact who was the winner as at this time?
I had not got the final figures, but we, of course, had the constituency results, but I did not know at this point in time who was the winner.
Right. Then, if we flow to paragraph 61, you say the advocate never made comments?
Yes, he did not say anything.
Did not say anything.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've left out the point of being rewarded reasonably, but I'd rather go there. Let me read this statement, sir. After the talk of moderation, this is what you say. For this, he indicated that should his request be granted, it would be adequately rewarded. Who was this? And what was the reward?
This, the person who spoke these words was Rafael Tuju, and that's what he said. That we consider the request, then we shall be rewarded.
You shall be rewarded.
Yes.
Did he expound the reward?
Oh, we did not encourage him to expound the reward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, let me flow on the reward and we'll come back to paragraph 62. The last part, the third last line, and I want to read for you. You say you did not want him to expound, but this is what you say. As regard the incentive, and the emphasis is the word incentive, I was categorical that I'm adequately remunerated. And here the word emphasis is remunerated. And do not want anything from anyone. Do not want anything from anyone. Professor Gulie, Commissioner Molu, supported this view. The team left. Now, was Commissioner Irene Masit part of this meeting?
Yes, she was.
How come you did not mention her as supporting you? Or was she part of the incentive? And why did you use the word incentive and remuneration, sir?
Yeah, prior to that, just to put it in context, I invited the commissioners one by one to speak on the statements from those two gentlemen who had spoken. And I spoke last. And when I was responding to it is when I said these things about remuneration, which Commissioner Molo and Professor supported the view. So the others had already spoken. The other commissioners had already spoken.
Sorry to cut you. You know, reward could be by way of prayers for you and your family, could be by way of others. There must be a reason why you use the word remunerated.
Because those were the sentiments.
Those were the sentiments.
Yeah, that's what was expressed.
Monetary.
Yes.
Monetary.
Yeah.
Right, go on.
Yeah.
Just go on then.
So what I'm saying is all the commissioners had a chance to speak. As usual, I normally allow them to express their views in any meeting, and this was one of those meetings. So basically, the commissioner must sit alongside the other three, said that we should consider these statements from the two gentlemen very seriously.
Should consider
Yes.
the reward seriously.
Not the reward, the
Yes.
statements.
We are talking about the reward here.
About the reward, they did not say anything. The Commissioner Masi did not say anything about the reward.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was more about the request.
All right.
Yes.
But you see, you adopted this statement, this affidavit. This is an affidavit under oath.
Yes.
You are a very senior lawyer. You know the meaning of an affidavit under oath.
Yes.
You said you mentioned only two to have supported you. So the inference is the other way.
I think we need to read the whole paragraph in context. The support here from Commissioner Molo and Professor was more on the substantive issue which was raised as to whether we should moderate the results or not.
Right.
Not on the issue of reward.
So you
Yes.
had people who wanted to bribe technically the commissioners to subvert the will
Yes.
of the people.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
That is exactly what they left no doubt that was.
And you are aware,
Yes.
is that an offense under our penal code?
Not just Penal Code, even Election Offences Act.
Even Election Offences Act.
Yes.
And this, right, let me not go beyond. Let's go back to moderation. In respect to moderation and forcing a runoff, you then talked about giving the other people to have a chance to speak in paragraph 62.
Yes.
What was the position of Commissioner Irene Masit? Very specific on those two.
Yes. Commissioner Irene Masit with.
Just hold on.
Yes.
Okay, we proceed.
Yes.
Just. Right. In fact, I wanted, after probably another 10, 15 minutes, we take a health break. Very well. Then we'll take a health break. Very well. Thank you very much, sir. Now, Mr. Chebukati, you know, some of us are over 50, myself and Donald here, so I think it will come shortly, the break. Now, moderation and the forcing of runoff.
Yes.
And I'm very particular on the position of Commissioner, because you say they all commented. You are in that meeting, right?
Yes.
You are in that meeting.
I chaired the meeting.
You chaired the meeting.
Yeah.
Were the guests present?
Yes, they were.
The guests were present.
Yes.
And you then asked your commissioners to comment on what these guests have asked.
Yes.
And I'm trying to understand why this was done in the presence of the guests. Can you explain?
The guests had come with a request.
Yes.
And as a team, then they needed to be responded to. So I asked each commissioner then to make their comments on those requests.
Looking at them in the eye, what was the response of Commissioner Masit?
Okay, the way we are here, we of course, when you talk, I look at you. And Commissioner Masit agreed with the remarks of Senator Wako and Honorable Tuju.
So what was the remark of Senator Wako?
That we should moderate results.
Now, as a chair and as a very senior lawyer, did the Constitution of this great republic allow that?
Absolutely not.
What's your position then on that request?
I said that the will of the people must be respected, and we must live to the oath of our office. To me, that then were things that you don't expect, and that's why I said these then were attempts to subvert the will of the people.
So you are saying a commissioner wanted to subvert? That's what you're saying?
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
Right.
Yes.
In the other issue, what was the other request?
Force a runoff.
By who?
If the presidential candidate for Asmia doesn't win, then a runoff should be forced. That was Honorable Raphael Tuju.
What was the position of, I'm very specific, Commissioner Irene Masit on that request?
She said we should consider the remarks of both Senator Wako and the Honorable Raphael Tuju.
What do you mean, expound as a lawyer?
Consider means think of agreeing, think of a way of assisting.
Get of a way of assisting?
Yes, something like that.
Now, did the Constitution allow that?
Absolutely not.
So one of your commissioners was doing what?
Sorry?
So what you're saying, one of your commissioners was what? Was permitting, or trying to, agreeing with an attempt to subvert or violate the Constitution on that runoff issue?
That's what it appeared to be.
All right. Now, then, at what point did you leave? Okay. Did the guest leave? People have made their comments.
Then we finished the meeting. We told them we shall do what the law requires us to do. That's what I told them. And then they left shortly after.
So the incentive never got to anyone?
No.
Did you know where the incentive was coming from?
Where?
The incentive was coming from.
It's Tuju who mentioned it, so I don't know where it was coming from, and I didn't care to know where it would be coming from.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Now, we go to the next part, which starts with paragraph 63. You there, sir?
Yes, I'm there.
So, these visitors left, their first group of visitors left around what time? Do you remember?
Maybe around 3:30 or thereabouts. The meeting was about half an hour or 45 minutes or something like that.
3:30 or thereabouts?
Yeah, so I think that we took about 45 minutes for that meeting.
For that, 45 minutes. Now, you've been woken up 45 minutes. After they left, was there a discussion as commissioners? Because you are in a position, you say two supported you not to violate the Constitution. The other took a different position. Visitors have gone. Did you have a meeting?
I think after they left, we all got back to our work stations. I had also been woken up, so I continued working. So we did not have further discussion on the matter, and I didn't then give it much thought, really, after they left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you then, you are aware of the implication of putting these facts in an affidavit?
Yes, I was.
And you stick to these facts?
Yes, because that's the truth. That's what happened.
You stick to this fact that people wanted to you moderate? Yes. All right. Now, we go to paragraph 63. There's a new team of visitors. I need you to explain how did you know about this visit, and just introduction on paragraph 63.
This was on the morning of 15th. I received a call around 9 a.m. from the head of public service then, Mr. Joseph Kinywa, that a team from National Security Advisory Committee will be coming to see me and requesting me to see them. And he said they will be talking briefly about assumption of office. Later on,
The purpose of the meeting from the call was assumption of office.
yeah, that's what Mr. Kinyua said.
Did you have any problem discussing assumption of office?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I didn't know how I come in, but they wanted to discuss it, and I said, it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about whether there was an issue of assumption of office discussed. Then flow to paragraph 65 and the visit at paragraph 66.
Yes, so because of other duties we were undertaking, we said they need to wait. We managed to see them at 2 p.m. I and the commissioners met them at 2 p.m.
Where was the meeting?
The meeting took place at the CEO's office boardroom at the Bomas of Kenya, the CEO of Bomas of Kenya's boardroom.
Now, this meeting, was it attended by all commissioners? And to be specific, was Commissioner Irene Masit present?
Yes, Commissioner Irene Masit was present together with all the 5 others in this meeting.
In this meeting?
Yes.
Now, from my reading of paragraph 65 flowing to 66, it appears as though there was already an arranged, pre-planned meeting apart from the one of these visitors.
Yes, I had informed the commissioners that we should have a meeting at 2 to be briefed, or rather to look at the final results before declaration. And so we were meeting specifically to look at the results as stipulated in Form 34C, which we had asked the CEO to print and bring to the boardroom. So this was our meeting.
And in this meeting, prior to this meeting, had any of the commissioners seen Form 34C?
That Form 34C had not been printed, and none of us had seen it.
Had not been printed,
Yes.
None of you had seen it.
Yes.
Had any of you known the final results as prior to this meeting?
The final tally had not been known, disclosed to us, but all the constituency results were out there.
So all constituency results were out there?
Yes.
You mean any
We had finished tallying and verification, and the commissioners had been announcing them, and all the results were there.
When you say they are out there, because these
proceedings
are recorded, I need clarity. What do you mean when you say they are out there?
We mentioned the scenario of the auditorium where the tallying and verification was ongoing, and populating of Form C was happening. And so the results were there. After verification, all the constituency results were available.
In the portal or where?
No, with the commissioners, with the team, with the IEBC team.
With the IEBC team?
Yes.
Now, prior to this meeting, was there any problem amongst the commissioners?
No.
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Any disagreements? Not at all?
No.
Right. So, you meet at 2 o'clock, and you are clear in paragraph 66, you wanted to declare a declaration, right? Then flowing to paragraph 67, you say then you decided to meet the commissioners. Kindly explain.
We decided to meet as a commission before declaration so that we can look at the final result, which we were going to declare. But before that, we then said, since we have visitors, let's attend to them first.
Right.
Yes.
Are the visitors the one mentioned in paragraph 67?
Yes.
And you said they were coming on behalf of?
The National Security Advisory Committee.
Now, you then talk about introduction, composition, deliberate selection,
and the magnitude of the message. Kindly explain.
Yes, so the team leader, Mr. Kennedy Kihara, introduced the team of the form, introduced himself, and the participants, Mr. Kenneth Ogeto, Solicitor General, Mr. Hilary Mtiambai, Inspector General of Police, and Lieutenant General Francis Omondo Gola, the Vice Chief of the Defense Forces. That was the team. Yes. And he said this team has been carefully selected to come for this meeting. And he proceeded then to, after the introductions from all of us, he proceeded to deliver a message. He said they had a message for us.
A message from who?
From the NSAC, the National Security Advisory Committee.
Paragraph 69, flowing to 70, you talk about the message. Kindly explain.
Yes, the message was that if I declared the final election results in favor of Honorable William Samoei Ruto as president-elect, the country is going to burn. And he proceeded to tell us that the already skirmishes had started in the country. Kikuyus and Luos were already fighting. And he cited several slums, including Kibera and Mathare, on the basis of what he termed betrayal by the Kikuyus. So that was
betrayal by the Kikuyus.
That was his message.
Right.
Yes.
Paragraph 70, he went on to caution.
He went on to caution that if we proceeded with the declaration of Honorable Ruto as president-elect and chaos erupt, then the blood of Kenyans, the blood of the dead Kenyans will be on our hands. And he said all of us, 7 of us, the commissioners and myself, will be held responsible.
Now, how did you take that message to mean to you and the commissioners?
Well, this then was obviously, this is a National Security Advisory team, the top organ of government. And a message of that nature then was outrightly a threat to the independence of the commission.
It's a threat to the independence of the commission?
Yes.
Yes.
That's how I took it. And
as at the time they
yes.
were speaking, had the final results verified been with you people?
We had not received the final Form 34C from the CEO. We were waiting for it. But as I said, these results were already out there. I remember we had a public portal where everybody interacted with, and people did their own tallying.
So people could have done their tallying and known
yes.
who is the winner?
Yes.
But you?
The official result from 34C was not with us yet.
But as at that time, they are already telling you should not declare specific person?
Yes, yes.
All right. Now, we flow to paragraph...
So that we don't spend too much time on this. You see, you've verified the results.
Yes.
And you're doing that as per the constituencies.
Yes.
And that you had verified all the results of the constituencies.
Yes, by the morning of 15th.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and it was being done by commissioners, by your staff,
yes.
in the presence of agents,
yes,
and all those who wanted to.
Yes.
So the results were known.
Absolutely.
To that extent.
Yeah. At least the constituency results were all
results.
Out. Yes.
And all that you needed to do was arithmetical.
There were two things that Form C, that 4C brings out. Other than the final results, it also, the system computes the number of counties a candidate has garnered, because that's important.
Yes.
And also the percentage. So that then is auto-generated by the system.
Yes.
So those then completes the Form 34C. Yeah, so that to declare a winner, you must know how many counties they have been garnered, because one needs 24 counties on the minimum to win a presidential election, and also the percentage.
No, what I'm asking is, a careful agent, okay? People who are interested in these results, and I'm sure all of those who are in the room were interested, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It was a matter of calculation.
Yes, with your calculator, you could have known the results even after 48 hours or the second or third day.
So fine, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Then you flow to paragraph 71. Then you talk of a request that was made appears similar by the earlier visitors. Can you explain?
The paragraph 71,
Yes.
the second part of the message from the NSAC delegation was that if we cannot announce Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga as the outright winner, then we must ensure there is a runoff.
Now, was there any explanation how you would ensure there's a runoff?
None was given, and up to now, I wouldn't know if that can possibly be done. As I said, results were out there. So anybody attempting to manipulate them, it will not work.
Okay. Then you say they wanted something from you, 72.
Yes, he said now that he has delivered the message, he wants a message to take back or a response from the commission.
Right.
And so what I did is I asked the commissioners one by one what they think about that message.
Now, I need to be very specific. Commissioner Irene Masit. And first of all, was this done in the presence of the visitors?
Yes.
So your commissioners gave their comments
In
looking
the presence,
at the visitors in
yes,
the eye?
Yes.
And what was the position of Commissioner Irene Masit?
Yes, so the Commissioner Masit, alongside the others, said this message requires serious consideration, and she supported the adoption of the communication from NSAC to be considered before taking a decision on the results to be announced.
Right. Consider before doing what?
Before taking a decision on the result, as to the results to be announced.
So what does that mean?
I believe there's a preemptive action. If the results come in and they are going the way which is not anticipated by this team, then we should consider them and look for a way of doing what the request was.
So did the law or the constitution of this great republic allow what your fellow commissioner was supporting?
In fact, it's quite to the contrary.
What do you mean?
The constitution was set up to ensure that these kind of things don't happen. Remember, the commission is independent and it's about the will of the people. That's what we exist to protect.
Without going to legal maxims that we don't like, is that the commissioner wanted subversion of the will?
Well, from the expression of what they said and saying we should consider NSAC message, that is exactly subversion of the will of the people.
Subversion of the will of the people.
Yes.
Then what happened?
The NSAC team left, and the CEO then, Mr. Marijan, brought in the Form 34C.
Oh, very well.
Yes.
We can stop there.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We take 15-20 minutes break, then we resume.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
present.
Yeah.
How many were you in the commission as of until basically 15th of August? How many commissioners, including
As
you?
that?
Until 15 August.
We
I mean,
were
since June last.
6 commissioners and myself.
So
Seven.
seven commissioners.
Yes. 6 commissioners and myself.
Yeah. So what is majority in 7 commissioners? What is the majority number in mathematics of 7 commissioners? What is the majority number?
Majority number
Yes.
of 7?
Of 7, yes.
Maybe 4.
It can be maybe
Yeah,
Chairman.
I think 4.
Yeah. So actually, Regulation 7 reads, unless a unanimous decision is reached, a decision on any matter before the Commission shall be by concurrence of majority of all the members. So it's a unanimity or majority decision.
Yeah.
At least we agree on that.
Yes.
So just before we go to 15th of August, you know, the climax, I mean, the key duty of IEBC is basically to conduct elections. Do you have any other duty? Do you,
Yes.
do you trade? Do you sell mandazi, or is main business is elections?
We have other duties.
But which is the key duty in the
We
Constitution?
have elections, we have referenda, and we have boundaries delimitation.
But you can give an hierarchy of duties, which is number 1, number 2, number 3.
All of them are important. They are part of the mandate of the Commission.
Okay. So, but elections is actually the key mandate of IEBC.
Yes.
And in hierarchy of, you know, there is hierarchy in everything. There is hierarchy in our practice, even Mr. Chairman. There is seniority and all those things. There's everything. There is hierarchy. We understand importance, but there is hierarchy even in importance. So presidential election is actually the top of the electoral calendar. We have MCA, we have parliamentary, we have Senate, we have governor, but the presidential is the key, is the number at the top. Or you don't consider you think it's equal to being an MCA?
Well, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more. It's of course, in terms of arrangement, it's the first presidential election, then followed by the others.
The president is the symbol of national unity. He's the chief executive of the country. So you can't compare to any other seat, Mr. Chairman. Or do you?
Well, I didn't say that. I'm not saying I didn't say that, yeah.
Just an example. When you were when you were procuring the electoral papers and materials from Greece,
Yes.
did you have a plenary meeting of the commissioners?
Yes.
Was it made in the plenary?
Yes.
Do you have minutes?
The procurement, procurement started way back, and
Yeah, I agree.
a lot of things happened. There are minutes of the commission on every electoral process activity. I don't have minutes here.
Yeah, so long as you confirm, you know, because I say in the
Yes.
one time we'll get to know all these things. So for now, I want you to confirm from because you're under oath, and you're telling us that the commission as a whole approved the procuring the equipment from Greece. The commission, as the 7 commissioners, including you.
The commission did not appoint the service provider. It's not our work.
I know, but it comes
It's
to
the work of management.
I understand that, Chairman. Okay,
Yes.
give us how does procurement of like election material, which is actually key, how does it operate from the procurement until the commission?
Sorry.
Does the commission have any role in such? Does it approve? Does it comment? Or you just read in the media that IEBC imported materials from Greece, even yourself, Chairman?
To be specific on Greece,
Yes.
the commission approved the specifications for the ballot papers, that they should have 8 security features and all that,
Yes.
and then asked management to proceed and procure in accordance with the law.
Which we agree.
And then what does the commission do? Because it's the work of management procure, so we do our oversight role. In every other meeting, we ask management, give us progress report, and at a point in time, we had sent commissioners and a team to Greece
we'll come to that.
follow up
so
that.
We'll come
yes.
to that, Chairman.
Yes.
Let's go in sequence. So once the companies were shortlisted for printing the materials, was the evaluation report brought to the commission?
No. That is still part of procurement, and evaluation report is given to the CEO by the director of procurement.
So you're telling me, other than you approving the specifications for the voting materials, you never played a part in any way, You just had the CEO has appointed the Greek company, what was it called, Lycos, to bring the materials.
We know we have the Procurement Act and Public Disposal Act, and we also have the public, the finance, the act which deals with.
I understand, Chairman.
So now the issue of procurement starts with the specs up to the signing of the contract, and that's work done by management. It's not the commission.
So, Chairman.
Yes.
How come on 6th of July you announced that materials are arriving tomorrow on 7th of July without telling anyone? So how were you involved? Why did you tell the country that materials are arriving tomorrow and the commissioners didn't know, my client didn't know about it? She watched on TV you telling the country materials are arriving the next day. So why did you announce it if it's the role of the CEO?
The chairperson of the commission, and this is now in accordance with the governance of the structures, is the spokesman of the commission. Matters election, then the country would expect to hear from the chairperson. So all those, the announcement you're talking about, this information came from the CEO that we're having ballot papers arriving, and it's important to inform the country.
So, Chairman, I want to understand some things.
Yes.
You're the chairman of the commission.
Yes.
You're not involved in the actual procurement, in making a decision on who is to print our ballot papers, which is key, because we have to get the correct papers from the correct company. But you want to take the role of being media, the spokesman. You want to tell us they are arriving tomorrow. Yet you didn't care which company was given, whether it came from Saudi Arabia or Uganda. You didn't care where it came from.
It's not true that we didn't care. As I said, procurement is a function of management, and we played our oversight role by getting updates from management, by sending commissioners, including Commissioner Erin Masid, to Greece to oversight the process. So we were part and parcel of the whole process, and we played our oversight role.
On 6th of July, you announced the materials are coming on 7th of July.
Yes.
Do you know the date you sent the commissioners to Greece?
I don't have the dates. I can't remember.
It was 22nd of July.
There were various trips. There was an earlier trip done by Commissioner Masid, Commissioner Nyangaya, and Commissioner Professor. That was way before July. In fact, I think maybe around June. And then there was a second trip by Commissioner Wanderi and Vice Chair and other stakeholders, which was done later for presidential elections. So there were two distinct trips.
When you postponed the elections in some parts of the country, did you involve the commissioners?
We had a meeting.
Do we have the minutes, Chairman?
Do they have?
Will we one day get the minutes of that meeting that postponed the elections?
It was one of those meetings we had in Bomas, one of the many meetings that were not minuted.
So, Chairman, you meet from mundane issues, but when it comes to the real issues, real obligation duties of IEBC, like postponing elections, we don't have minutes.
There could be minutes, I can't recollect.
Okay.
But I think the CEO, the custodian of minutes, can attest to that.
For any of those meetings in Bomas on 15th of August, do we have minutes of any of the meetings? You were there for about a week. Are there minutes of any of the meetings?
Yeah, there are some. I remember there were certain meetings which had minutes, like there were some meetings on ICT. There are some which have minutes. They can be produced.
You don't have a copy of Elections Act, yeah?
I don't have.
Peter, do you have a copy? You don't have? Okay, sir. Give him mine. Just read 38 1C. Just give him. Just read section 38 1C. It's not a long one. Just read 38 1C. The one at the bottom. It's the sequencing of elections.
It doesn't have 38 1C.
There's 1C there violated.
38 is just one small paragraph.
What section is what?
It talks of holding, unless you are talking of 39.
Yeah, 39 1C.
39 1C, for purposes of a presidential election, the Commission shall electronically transmit in a prescribed form the tabulated results of an election for the president from a polling station to the constituency tallying center and to the national tallying center. B, tally and verify the results received at the national tallying center. And C, publish the polling result forms on an online public portal maintained by the Commission.
And the next page, the role of the chairman.
1D?
Yeah, the role of the chairman there is announcing, declaring the results. See, there is a next page. The
chairperson.
Yeah.
1D, the chairperson of the Commission shall declare the results of the election of the president in accordance with Article 138(10) of the Constitution.
Yes, fine.
Before determining and declaring the final results of an election under subsection 1, the Commission may announce the provisional results of the election.
Just give me. So, Chairman, in a nutshell, the Elections Act gives a very sequential order of how presidential elections are held.
Yes.
Number one, the elections of the polling station are in the prescribed form.
Yes.
Form 34A.
Yeah.
Then from there, it goes to the constituency level in the prescribed form 34B. Then to the tallying center, NTC now at Bomas, where now you tally and verify the results. Tally and verify the results.
Yes.
And then the next sequence is you publish the results from 34C in the format on the online public portal. And then the last stage is the chairperson of the commission declares the results.
Yes.
Are we together with the sequencing?
Yep.
And you've given us your training manual. You remember your manual you gave us, the pathway, the elections pathway.
Yes.
So it's one of your own manual is that you must receive the actual fiscal forms, 34A and B, and for reconciliation, for tallying and verification. So on 15th of August, had you received all these forms, 34A and B?
Yes, forms 34A, as we said, they were electronically transmitted to the portal.
Yes.
Almost, I think, one or two, the ones which were not, a wrong form was transmitted, but about two did not go there. And then we had all the returning officers, the 290 constituencies had brought the fiscal form 34S to the Bomas of Kenya, and also we had the returning officer at 291 for diaspora had received all the returns from the diaspora. So by the morning of 15th, we had received all the 34As and Bs at the Bomas of Kenya.
Okay. So let's go to 15th of August, which is important for us. At 3 a.m. in the morning, when those three gentlemen came, How did you call the other commissioners? Were they just present? Were they around?
Yes, the commissioners were all over the floor of Bomas following up verification and tallying.
So how did you summon them?
I sent somebody to call them.
Physical, you send someone to, how will you trace people all over the place?
I think the CEO was there. He just went and called them and they came.
So, by this time, 3 a.m., results, you didn't have the results.
The tallying and verification was still ongoing on the floor. Yes.
So again, what was the message from the 3 gentlemen? What did they want you to do?
They said we should consider declaring the Asmio presidential candidate as the winner, and in the worst case scenario, we look at a way of moderating results so that there's a runoff.
Chairman, you know you're a lawyer, you're the chairman of the commission. At 3 a.m., there were no results. No one, at least, no one, did you know who the winner was at 3 a.m. in the morning?
No, we had not been given the third 4C.
So, how will a discussion to declare someone a president arise, Mr. Chairman? I want to understand.
So that's what they said. That was the message. That's what I heard.
Did Commissioner Irene Masit actually speak?
She spoke.
You remember?
Yes.
What were our words?
She said we should look at what the gentlemen have said seriously. We should consider.
Say consider.
The message, yeah.
Was Nyangaya present at 3 a.m. in the morning?
Another?
On that day, that 3 a.m. in the morning. Was he present?
Who?
Nyangaya.
To my recollection, all commissioners were present.
My information was that he was asleep. He hadn't even woken up. Are you sure he was there that day?
My recollection is that all commissioners were present.
I'm just wondering, if you can't remember that Nyangaya had actually not woken up, he was not there, how will you be able to remember what's Chairman? Because he'll come here one day, another sitting, he'll say that he was never there, and he will actually show he wasn't there that morning of 3 a.m., and you're saying he was there.
But what I recollect is all commissioners were present. I think that's my recollection, and that's what I've about.
Do you know the legal meaning of consider? Dictionary meaning of consider. You're a lawyer. What does it mean to consider?
Well, it just means what it says, consider. I'll think about it. I need to take it seriously. I don't know the exact dictionary meaning, what's given in the dictionary.
Chairman, you know as a lawyer, when a layman says compound, it means compound.
Yeah.
But when a lawyer says compound, it means something else, compound. The same spelling, but different meaning. And consider, once the tribunal is done today's hearing, they'll go and consider this hearing. They'll go and consider.
You give some weight to, thought to something. I believe that's what it means. Yeah.
So the meaning of consider is not to particular decision, but to think through, ponder.
Yes, if the issue requires, so there are some issues you don't consider, like the discussions on at 3 a.m. in the morning. Those issues are not worth considering.
So at least, which you are correct. So at least at 3 a.m. we know there were no results. The next, when you met the next committee people, what time was it?
It was at 2 p.m. on 15th.
The NCAC people.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the advisory committee.
Yeah.
So at that time, again, you didn't have the results?
We had not received the Form 34C. It was still being printed by the CEO.
Yeah, so there were no results again?
We had not received the Form 34C, but all the results had been tallied and verified, all the constituencies.
You told us that this group of people, they looked threatening and they basically threatened you. I mean, you looked threatened, you felt threatened and intimidated.
No, they didn't look threatened. It's a message.
Oh, it's a message?
The message they carried. And they said we should look at them carefully to see the composition of who they were.
So, Chairman, you've been the chair for 5+ years, about 6 years, senior lawyer, and you felt threatened, or were threatening. My client has hardly been there for a year. So, from your own perception, how do you think she was feeling? Threatened, or she didn't care? I mean, because if the chairman is threatened, sure, what about the other commissioners?
It was, you have a team of people walking in with a message, and the message was such that, first, you don't expect such a message in a democracy, a country ruled by a rule of law.
And I agree with you on that, Chairman.
Yes, then secondly, they are telling you this is a message from the National Security Advisory Committee. Of course, it's a threatening message, but as to whether I was threatened or not, I think is that your question?
No, you told me that, okay, maybe I rephrased it.
The message which was threatening.
Yeah, the message was threatening.
Yes.
To you.
But for me, I just did my work. Of course, I was not threatened.
I imagine I agree with you, Chairman, that you did your work. What I'm just saying is about the effect of the words that they were threatening. The words were threatening. That's what you said. The words were threatening.
Yes, because of the nature of the message and the team that came with it.
And I'm saying you, as being a chair for 6 years, and the words were threatening, so you can imagine the effects of the same words or the same people on Commissioner Irene Masidi, who's been there for just a year.
I think she can speak for herself.
Okay.
I don't know how she felt.
Your position,
Yeah.
By that time, we didn't have results. And Marjan walked in at first. Let's go back. When you appointed Gulie to be the head of the presidential tallying process and the other commissioners to various roles, did you have a plenary meeting with the commissioners?
We did not have a plenary meeting. I think we had possibly some informal meetings. But issues of appointment to tasks is basically, even for meetings, subcommittee meetings, somebody has to steer the ship. And as a chairperson, you must give guidance in any organization.
You don't call the commissioners
at
the only 6 and you tell them, I'm giving you this role, I'm giving you this role. Because my client tells me that she didn't even know until when they arrived in Bomas what commission has been given. She got her own letter and everyone got their own letter, and it was like confidential letter. So they didn't even know what roles they've been given. That's how you did it?
I assigned the commissioners' roles to which I believed would be help us to manage the Bomas operations. And I believe that each of them did their role. They didn't complain that I don't want to do this role, give me another role. Nobody complained.
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
But you appointed Gulie and Marjan, CEO, to be basically in charge of presidential elections, the tallying and the verification process, because you made them alternate team leaders, which is in law again is alternate is equal. It's basically co-equal. And Gulie admitted yesterday.
So what's the question?
So I'm saying,
yes,
basically you made Marjan and Gulie have equal roles in the presidential tallying process.
They were co-chairs. What we needed at Bomas was a team that can deliver. As to Marjan is the CEO and professor, they each have a contribution. The Marjan manages the management, and the professor is a commissioner. So I don't think there was anything wrong with that.
Where were the offices at Bomas of Marjan and Gulie?
Offices?
Yeah. Where were they?
The Bomas structure is that there was no offices for commissioners. They were all were all sitting in one common room. There was only an office for Marjan and myself. So the commissioners were all sitting in the boardroom or in a VIP room.
Guliye told us he never announced the results because he was busy throughout.
He was?
He was busy in the tallying and the verification process. So where was he? Because he wasn't there. At least if we watch all these videos of bombers, we wouldn't see Guliye until the last day. So where was he all that time? What room was he in?
The bomber structure, within the main auditorium, there are holding rooms.
Yeah.
And then there's a VIP room.
Yeah.
So commissioners were oscillating between each of those rooms.
I'm asking about Guliye. Where was Guliye? Because he was a team leader for tallying and verification. Where was he situated?
I'm just telling you, there were no offices for commissioners. The way we have in anniversary towers, each commissioner with an office.
Yeah.
At Bomas, there were no offices for commissioners. We had the main auditorium, which is an open space, and a holding room, and that's where the commissioners were sitting, mainly in the holding room. It's only the CEO and myself who had an office now on the other side, the administrative block.
So, Chairman, you're telling us that when you had visitors at 3 a.m. in the morning, and when you're the National Security Advisory Council at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, you summoned the commissioners to come and meet visitors at 3 a.m. or 2 p.m.
Yes.
But you don't have the same diligence to summon commissioners to discuss the issue of tallying and verification of presidential elections, the actual work of the commission, to tell them, Commissioner, so and so, this is your role, this is your role. But to meet visitors, you call them from wherever they're doing to come and meet visitors at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Let me say this. The duties you are referring to were meant to prepare the tallying center for the tallying and declaration of results. Issues, the duties you are, but all commissioners participated in the tallying and verification, and they were free to go wherever they wanted within the premises. So it's issue. Now, when you say about allocation of duties, the chairperson, and in any organization, somebody has to allocate duties.
I agree.
And you cannot sit and discuss now. Everybody will say they want this particular function. Then you end up with a lot of problems. So as a chairperson, as a leader of an organization, you must steer the ship. You must allocate
We'll
duties.
come to that, Chairman, in a
Yes.
short while. So at 4 p.m. on 15th of August, you summon the commissioners. Then Marjan walks in. In your own affidavit, you said he gave copies of the final results to each commissioner.
Yes.
That's what the affidavit says.
Yeah.
He gave copies to each commissioner of the results. And remember, Chairman, you're the chairman of IEBC.
Yes.
And you know the meaning of results is not the results of a screen. That's not what the law says. So is it your position still that Marjan gave every commissioner the results?
He handed over to me, then I passed copies to all the commissioners.
You said a copy to each commissioner. Is that your position, Chairman?
Yeah. Every commissioner was given a copy.
Copy of the results?
Copy
how many
of the
pages?
results.
Each commissioner was given how many pages of results?
How many?
Pages of results.
There was one from Patfosi. We printed one copy of about 450 pages or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And then the summarized version of the results.
So what copy did you, you said you gave a commissioner each copy. You know, that's English. You gave a commissioner each commissioner a copy. So what copy did you give to each commissioner?
What copy?
Yes, it's a summary.
The summarized copy.
The 3-page copy.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to get you the copy. It's actually in the affidavit, but I want to give you the copy. You see, it's a 3-page copy. Give him this one. Just confirm to the tribunal that this is the copy each commissioner was given. Is that a copy, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, this is the one.
That's the one.
Yep.
Yes, fine. So just let him have it. Look at just look at the information. Just tell the
I think
tribunal what the
we
information
better be
is there.
guided the page where that is.
Oh no, it's okay. It's in the affidavit. It's you said yes, in the affidavit of one day. I'll give you just in a minute, Peter. Chairman, sorry, we're taking our time, but this is crucial because it's actually what's important for. It's volume 2, page 157. Mr. Chairman, yeah. So, just what is in the first column, like you see, county name. So basically, this entire report is a summary of the counties only.
All the counties.
47 counties.
Yes. And then there's also diaspora after the 47 counties, which includes prisoners.
But the Elections Act, as relating to Form 334C, what's the information supposed to be contained in Form 34C?
Form 34C is a summation of all the results from the polling station. That's Form 34A is what translates into 34C.
So 34C in the law has 40, how many polling stations?
46,229 polling stations. That's what we had in...
And 290 constituencies and 47 counties.
Yes.
So it's basically what you're saying. It's about 400, 500 pages document.
Yes.
So the law says Form 34C is supposed to be 500 pages. But here you're telling us that a 3-page document, which is a summary of counties only, is Form 34C. And you've been maintaining throughout in your affidavit and in your evidence in the morning.
The Form 34C, which was printed, is over 400 pages, 450 pages. This is a summation of the document for purpose of discussion by the
Chairman, you know, we began by you telling us compliance of the law is important, Chairman, and that's why I'm insisting. You've told us compliance of the law, and you've said that Commissioner Irene Masid broke the law. And I'm telling you now, the law is clear on what Form 34C is. Is that Form 34C, Chairman?
This is part of Form 34C.
No,
it's
I'm
a
saying,
summary
no.
of 34C. It's not 34C incomplete.
Chairman, I'm asking you, is that Form 34C?
I've answered you. It's not complete. Form 34C is a summation of 34S, and this then is a summary at the end.
Chairman, there's a format of Form 34C in the Elections Act, and I'm asking again, Chairman, is that the format prescribed? It's the Elections Act says in the prescribed format. Is that the prescribed format of 34C?
This is a summary at the end of the
Chairman,
form.
I'm saying, is that the prescribed format?
The Form 34C itself is in the format prescribed. You can show me 34C if you have it here. It was...
I want to show you the Form 34C, how it looks like. So we can... just give me a minute.
So that we can make progress. This is not Form 34, Form 34C.
That's what I need to confirm only.
This is a summation at the end of Form 34C. It's part of Form 34C.
It's part of, but it's not.
Yes.
It's not.
So, and in your affidavit filed in the Supreme Court, Chairman, did you file Form 34C?
We filed, first of
In
all,
your affidavit? In your affidavit?
yes, we submitted all the Form 34S, all Form 34Bs, and the entire Form 34C to the Supreme Court.
What I'm saying, Chairman.
Yes.
Chairman, in your affidavit, you refer to several documents. Is there any part of your affidavit that you've referred to 34C and annexed it? In your affidavit in the Supreme Court, not what you submit, but I'm saying in your affidavit. Even your lawyer can assist you. Show me one paragraph in there. There are 3 affidavits you filed in the Supreme Court. I just want one paragraph that you said, herewith annexed is Form 34C in the format prescribed in the Elections Act.
There was no need for that because prior, the law says immediately after an election petition is filed, the Commission must submit to the Supreme Court all the results in Form 34A, B, and C. And we had already submitted those documents to the Supreme Court.
You know,
so
Chairman,
there was no need to annex them to my affidavit.
As a lawyer, if you file an appeal, if there is no notice of appeal, there is no record of appeal without notice of appeal. It's the mandatory document. When it comes to presidential elections, unless there is Form 34C, where do you declare your results without Form 34C? It's a crucial document that is supposed to be in your affidavit.
I'm saying the documents were already filed to the Supreme Court in accordance with the law. And the Supreme Court deliberated that matter and arrived at a judgment on the 5th of September.
What time did you announce the results, Mr. Chairman? Presidential results, what time?
I don't remember the exact time, but it was around 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
On the 15th of August.
What time did you upload Form 34C in the format prescribed in the Elections Act in the IEBC portal?
As tallying and verification was ongoing, Form 34C was automatically generated into the system and uploaded to the public portal.
You know, there's the populating and what have you, but
Yes.
the final Form 34C, it says, the Act says you publish the entire Form 34C before announcing the results. Did you ever upload the entire Form 34C before announce the results? The
sequence of events was that after the agents had signed the result from 34C, it was uploaded, and I think that then you can get evidence from the records in the server, but it was uploaded to the best of my knowledge.
My instructions, Chairman, is until today, we don't have Form 34C in the IEBC portal.
And what I can say is that Form 34S, Form 34Bs, and the entire Form 34C was uploaded to the server. And the server kept on running until I think it was deactivated in end of November.
There's a server and there's a portal. There's a server which is no one is accessing. But I'm saying
is just
public portal. I'm saying the public. Can someone access it? If we log on to IEBC now, can we get the 34C in
the public portal is actually a server, runs on a server. And all the forms were uploaded through the August period, September, October, November. And maintaining the server being an expensive affair, I think the Commission deactivated it at the end of November because it requires a lot of money to maintain the firewalls. So if you logged in now, it will not be there, but it was there up and running until November.
We can always get
30th November, and that evidence is there.
So you're saying there's evidence that it was actually uploaded on the system?
All the forms.
Not the forms, not the forms. You know the law says...
And that 4C was not just uploaded, but shared again with hard copies were shared with all the presidential candidates and their agents subsequent to the declaration, during declaration and after. So they were uploaded and they were shared. So those documents are out there.
So the meetings again of 3 a.m. and 2 p.m., there were no results. Peter likes saying that I like legal maxims, law maxims. You know the maxim, ex nihilo nihil fit.
Sorry?
Ex nihilo nihil fit. Nothing comes out of nothing. So if there were no results, there was nothing to be moderated. There was nothing to be discussed.
Well, that's your opinion, but the commissioners were part and parcel of the process, and the exercise has been completed.
I'm saying,
And,
that is, I mean, that's a legal principle. Nothing comes out of nothing. By the way, the results that the commissioners kept going to read to the public, you're aware they were handwritten. They were never typed.
Well, the process, just to take you back, the Form 34S came with the returning officer together with 34B, and where there were a bit of errors in the Form 34B, it was corrected, and before posting into populating the Form 34C. So where there were those corrections, I think that could be on the Form 34B. And that's where the handwritten issues may be coming in. But whatever was written was in agreement with agents and the teams that were on there.
No, but I'm saying they were just handwritten for the record. They were not,
not all of them, but
most of them.
A number of them.
Just to go back, when, you know, you've been with the three commissioners, Molu and Gulia, for basically 6 years. So you had built a kind of a comradeship with the three of them. When the four joined you in September, did you do anything to bond the groups, the two groups, to gel? Did you create a unified commission?
About comradeship, I don't know. We were just working.
I mean, it's public perception, it's public knowledge, Chairman, that we always saw the three of you and the other four were together. The three of you were separate. So I don't know. Maybe it's public perception. We have it wrong.
I don't know where you saw. In the commission, we worked together, and as your client, everybody had we were free with each other, and we took all the trouble to ensure that the new commissioners were up to speed, including. But
did you gel the groups? Did you try to create one unified commission?
We had various retreats. Yeah. We had trainers. We bonded and we gelled, and we took them through the process of elections, which it's documented.
When you finished reading the results on 15th of August, you told us, the other commissioner said they went to hide. Did you also go to hide?
No, I went to my house, and I was in my house throughout. I didn't go to hide anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know Peter Chelanga? Have you met him, a person called Peter Chelanga?
No, I've not met Peter Chelanga.
When you had the issue of the materials at the airport, when they were seized, the materials, the election materials, and somewhat it was resolved, it didn't have a role in the resolution of the... Okay. Let me ask a blunt question. Did you meet the president to resolve the issue?
On which materials?
When they were seized at the airport from those, what is it, Venezuelans, or what? There were some materials you seized at the airport, which was public knowledge.
Yes.
Did you meet the president to resolve it?
No, I didn't meet the president, but the issue was resolved.
When the Venezuelans were arrested, did you meet the president?
During that time?
Yes.
When?
The Venezuelans were arrested.
No, I did not meet the president.
Did you talk to him?
No, I didn't talk to the president.
And the materials were seized. Did you talk to him?
No.
But they were somewhat resolved.
I spoke with the Director of Criminal Investigations and the Inspector General of Police on those issues.
As I say again, Chairman, all this is one day will come out, how it was done. But for now, we'll just leave it like that. When did you know, at what point did you know the results were out, were ready to be announced?
At what point?
Yes, what time of the day?
What time, when Marjan brought them, I can't tell the exact time, but it was around, maybe around 4 p.m. or thereabouts.
So this was 15 August? 15th of August?
Yes, 15th of August.
When did you send out invites? With what date?
The invites for declaration was...
No.
Yeah.
To the presidential candidates, to either both or one of them, to attend the results.
I think that was done in the morning when we had finished with the verification and tallying. Then we invited them to come at 3, hoping that we've gone through all the other processes by then.
My information, Chairman, and I've seen the documents, that Yekel sent invites on 12th of August. Can you remember?
Sorry? I didn't
You sent invites on 12th of August.
I don't think that's true. The invites must be dated. If they're here, you can show me the one. You can show me the one you are referring to.
You gave approval on 12th of August.
I don't remember that.
We'll ask again. We'll know. Chairman, do you know the 4 petitioners who have filed to remove, who filed this petition initially? There is Reverend Dennis Nzumbi, Geoffrey Langat, War Steve Jerry, and the other guy, the chairman of the other party, is called Volume 1. Zakaria Matayo.
I don't know them personally.
Have you met them?
No, except I think from what I've seen on TV, I think I can maybe pick out a few faces in this room now, but I have not met them before.
So just finally, so you're not a witness of these 4 people?
They are not the ones who brought me.
I
was brought here by
the tribunal.
Yeah, tribunal.
Just for the record, so we know
yes,
that.
I was invited by the tribunal.
So you do not play any part in preparing the 4 petitions filed in National Assembly? Did you play any part in preparing the petitions?
No, I did not.
Were you aware of them?
I was only aware when the matters went before the Parliament.
But you were not aware before?
No.
Finally, Chairman, do you have confidence in the Supreme Court as an institution of this country, established by the Constitution of Kenya? Do you have confidence in our Supreme Court?
Yes, I do. Well, it's part of the rule of law, and we respect the judiciary, not just the Supreme Court, but all the courts as an arm of government.
And do you have confidence in this tribunal set up by the Constitution and Article 251?
Yes, I do.
So last week when you were presenting your final post-election evaluation report, I mean, I watched you in the media, again, I heard you in the media, you were calling for establishment of commission of inquiry.
Yes.
On the election dispute.
Yes.
I have read your report, the post-election report. Nowhere in the report have you made any allegation, have you made any adverse findings on the process, even in your forwarding letter, in the covering letter in the report. So I just want to understand, in what context did you now go outside the report and outside your own covering letter in the report to call for establishment of a commission of inquiry? Is it that you didn't trust or you didn't like the Supreme Court judgment, or you don't have faith in this tribunal? I just want to understand the context, because you know this process is ongoing. You knew the Supreme Court decision. So what was it that made you ask for a commission of inquiry?
We ran a transparent election, I believe, free, fair, transparent election. And if you notice from the last 3 elections we have had, 2013, 2017, under the new constitution, we've been improving gradually. In the last election, everything went well except the incidents at Bomas and also in some areas like Narok and other counties where there was some violence. And where I sit, as I leave the commission, I believe that we should never have a repeat of those incidents. We must get to the root of it to ensure that that doesn't. That's the only problem we have as a country, that those incidents happen. And I believe a commission of inquiry would perhaps be the best way. And not just me, the commission actually wrote to the president to look into how that can be set up.
But
yes.
you know, Chairman, what I'm saying as we conclude this thing is, we had our worst election violence in 2007. Our elections were nullified in 2017. Our elections were upheld in 2022, and the Supreme Court said they were excellent elections. So I want to understand the context and your motivation in asking for a commission of inquiry in 2022, which Supreme Court found was near perfect, and not calling for 2017 inquiry, 2007, or is your memory limited, or, I mean, historical memory is limited?
Well, I don't understand the question.
I'm saying we've had worse situation. We have 2017, which we chaired, which was nullified, and there was violence in 2017. We had very limited violence in 2022, but they're very limited. But you call for commission of inquiry in 2022. So if you're saying, as you've claimed yourself by the, you know, under the Evidence Act, when you claim, you take the high road section of the Evidence Act, your own integrity must be put into question as a witness. So you've called for commission of inquiry to 2022 elections when there was no violence. We didn't have much killings. We had killings in 2007, and we had elections nullified in 2017. You were the chairman in 2017. If you are riding the high moral, I mean, you're working on the high moral ground basically, and asking for elections commission of inquiry for 2022, should have had the same courage to ask from 2017 until now. Why didn't you ask from 2017 until 2022?
There was no violence in 2017. What we are talking about here is violence. We are talking about individuals attempting to subvert the will of the people. None of these issues were there earlier. And this can only be unearthed in,
Chairman, under your watch,
a situation like this one.
People were actually killed in your commission. 2022, there were threats, even on you. So you should have asked for actual commission of inquiry for 2017 and 2022. I'm saying, if you, following your sequence of thought, you cannot be selective on 2022 and not 2017. Chairman, just before I conclude, just before I leave you, I don't want to, the final issue. The Supreme Court judgment, my last issue, Supreme Court judgment, actually voided Regulation 87 that you kept using to run a one-man show at the IEBC. You remember the regulation was nullified by the Supreme Court judgment, 2022?
Yes.
And the Supreme Court, in its finding again, Chairman, they read your affidavits, your 3 affidavits. They read the affidavits of all the other commissioners. And they came to the conclusion that the dispute between the 3 of you and the other 4 commissioners was a boardroom dispute. They had your issues in the affidavit about the 3 a.m. meetings, 2 p.m. meetings, about the press conference of Serena. The Supreme Court had all those issues, and they reached a finding. So as a chair, as a lawyer, you filed 3 affidavits before the Supreme Court, and you made all those allegations. You gave the Supreme Court all the documents which we've not been provided for. And the Supreme Court did not find anything wrong with the conduct of the 4 commissioners. They don't even find anything wrong with the other 3 commissioners. They did not find anything wrong with the IEBC as a whole. The only thing they found was that it was internal issue, it was administrative dispute, which should be fixed by the commission. So why do you still want Commissioner Irene Masit to be followed for the events of 15 August when the Supreme Court already had it and determined it?
Well, as I said, the Supreme Court had 9 issues for determination. 9. And all those issues were dealt with. There was no issue as to the governance structures of the IEBC. If there was, then we could have filed relevant affidavit to that effect. But having said so, I think the recommendations of the Supreme Court is what informs part of the post-election evaluation, and I believe those issues will be addressed by the incoming commission.
Chairman, have you read of the judgment, paragraphs 2008 to 244 of the judgment of the Supreme Court? They actually made findings on the affidavits.
Yes, I'm saying the issues for determination. As a council, you know, we answer to the issues for determination. And the issue about how the commission is governed was not one of the issues. If it was, we would have filed relevant documentation to give the Supreme Court a chance to make a finding on whether the commission follows those governance structures or not. And I believe those findings could not have been the same if we had that opportunity to put the documentation before the Supreme Court.
My understanding of the judgment is that they actually reached conclusions on the conduct of the commissioners, the 7 commissioners, and made findings in paragraph 243, and the last final findings of the judgment. So again, I'm asking if the Supreme Court had your affidavit. Let's say again, let me agree with you that they did not reach a finding on it, but that your affidavit in which you set out the disputes, you set out the meetings of 3 a.m. in the morning or 2 o'clock Serena conference. So if there was anything wrong with those incidences, why didn't the Supreme Court decide on them and the evidence before them?
I think that's for the Supreme Court to say. I don't know what the judges considered or did not consider, but all I know is that all those affidavits were filed around the same time on 26th, 27th, and there was no time for filing further affidavits and rebuttals and so forth because of the limited time we were given. So I believe we put what we could in terms of focusing on the issues that had been set for determination.
No, because when you spoke initially, Chairman, you were so into the word can say emotional about it that there was like breach of the Constitution. There was like an intention to subvert the will of the people. When did you file your affidavit?
To the Supreme Court?
Yes.
I think they were done on the 26th
of August.
Of August.
The incidents you're referring to are 15th of August. You had 2 weeks to do, about 11 days to do the affidavit. So if you are so minded that there was an intentional will to subvert the Constitution or to the will of the people, because you set it out in the affidavit, and it was dealt with by the Supreme Court. So my issue is that why is it being revisited? It has been dealt with by the Supreme Court. It should be with finality. Do you have an issue against Commissioner Irene? You don't sit in the commission?
I'm here on invitation of counsel for the tribunal. And what I came to say is that what I said in the affidavit is true to the best of my knowledge on events that happened. As for Commissioner Masid, what I've said is what she said, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yes.
Re-examination.
Yes, I'll have five issues to re-examine. Mr. Chebukati.
Yes.
At the beginning of cross-examination, you asked whether you had any issues with Commissioner Irene Masit, and then there's one specific issue you picked but you didn't explain. You said that you had an issue she had filed cases against the commission. Kindly clarify.
Sorry,
when you were being asked whether you had any challenge or a problem with Commissioner Irene Masit,
yes,
you made a comment and said we had a case, they filed affidavits against the commission. Kindly clarify what you mean and what was the issue here.
About the commissioner filing affidavits?
Yes, against the commission.
In the presidential election petitions 2022, the Commissioner Masit filed an affidavit where she deponed to the effect that she didn't agree with the election results and they should be nullified, and made various allegations which, in my view, are not true about the commission.
Did the commission sanction that of it?
No.
Those facts?
No, we did not.
You say they were not true?
They were not true.
Right. Second issue, page 230 of volume 4. I am aware you are not a party in this matter, but it has a gazette notice. Was it ever challenged, set before court or anything by Commissioner Irene Masit or anyone?
No issue was raised about this gazette notice until, I mean, it's today I'm hearing, and I think when matters went before the Supreme Court. But the commissioners did not raise any issue.
Even in your sittings, did she ever raise any issue about these notices at all?
Absolutely not. No issue was raised about it.
It's the first time you're hearing?
Yes.
Right. Third, there's an issue raised about allocation of duties to different commissioners and staff of the commission.
Yes.
Was the Commissioner Irene Masit allocated? Did she challenge or raise issues before today?
As I mentioned, the only issue was she did not want to work with Commissioner Wanderi. When that was resolved, she continued with her duties as allocated.
Thank you.
Yes.
Second last question. There are so many questions raised on forms, right? Form 34C. And Mr. Kip Correll, counsel for Commissioner Masit, mentioned paragraph 208 to 244 of the judgment, and he mentioned it. 244A, there was a clear finding. He mentioned 244. Did the court make a finding on those issues in 244A? If yes, what?
Yes, 244A, where the court said we are satisfied as a finding that notwithstanding the divisions apparent between the chairperson and the 4 commissioners, IEBC carried out the verification, tallying, and the declaration of results in accordance with Article 138, 3C, and 10 of the Constitution. That was the finding.
So that issue settled?
Yes.
Right. The last thing, paragraph 8 of that judgment, you mentioned about the issues before the Supreme Court. Just say the first paragraph 8 of that judgment. Remember, when you're being asked whether you have confidence in the Supreme Court,
yes,
or this tribunal, you've mentioned that there were 9 issues. Now, clarify, are those the issues that are set in paragraph 8 of the judgment, and do they relate with the issue before the tribunal, this tribunal?
I go through them?
No, just confirm whether they're the ones?
Yes, they are the ones. These are the 9 issues before the Supreme Court, which were canvassed before the Supreme Court.
Right. What about, is the issue before the tribunal part of those? Well, also, was it part of the issues that were before?
The issue about?
Before this tribunal?
No, it's not part of these 9 issues.
It is not part of those 9 issues.
Yes, yes.
Many thank you, and thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members. I would leave it at that unless the tribunal members have any question.
Mr. Chebukati, we thank you for finding time to be with us, and wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you. To leave, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members. On behalf of this part, we wish to say we are grateful for the indulgence and the time
to take, taken in all our witnesses. We believe we've set out good grounds, and we would wish to close it at that point and push it to Mr. Donald Kipkorir.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, we are also grateful for the opportunity. And once Peter closes this case, us also are closing our case.
Thank you. Thank you to each one of you. We will, I think on behalf of the
Chair,
member.
probably I needed, sorry, I'm cutting you. For good order, would be glad if this is on record that is closing his case and also is not calling any witness. So that is on record for submissions.
Donald Kipkorir is a seasoned lawyer. Once he says he's closing his case, it means he's not calling evidence. Understand you right, Counsel?
That's correct. There is no other explanation. There is no other interpretation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was saying that on behalf of the members of the tribunal, we wish to thank the respective sides led by Mr. Mungia and Mr. Kipkorir, and also thank the Commissioner for being with us throughout. We must now decide how to move on from here. I'll be expecting that within how much time we file written submissions, starting with you, Mr. Munge. And
thank you, Chair. And from where I sit, and I must be grateful to my team, Madam Zamzam, Abib and team. We've been burning the midnight oil, and we have our submissions ready. We'd just require a day or maximum two, because maximum 2 days,
yes,
we'll be able to do our final submissions. We are ready. We'll just need to put the input of today's witness. I initially thought I'll take a day, but let me ask for 2 days. Today is Tuesday. By close of business Thursday, we'll have filed and served.
Okay. Donald?
Yeah, Chairman, just for background maybe sake, what happened? This is the first hearing in this country since, on issues relating to Article 251 or similar articles before. And what this tribunal is going to determine will basically lay the foundation for similar future hearings. So this, you later they set the bar high or low, which depending on how whatever it comes out. And as for that, I need sufficient time to do my submissions. When we had our last meeting, I indicated I needed 14 days. I will not expand. I will have asked for more time, 21 days, but I'll stick on the 14 days we had agreed in the meeting. But I want 14 days to run from the time I receive Peter's submissions and the Hansard report. I wasn't making notes because my understanding was that there is a dictaphone and there is an answered report. So I needed the answered report and for the proceedings and then the submissions. Then I'll do my submission within 14 days from receipt of both.
How soon will the Hansard report be ready?
Mr. Chair, we have the Hansard report. We just require the last 2 days. It will probably take another 2 days for...
Another?
Another 2 days from today.
Yeah, okay.
Chairman, just before you
Yes,
give
yes, yes.
elections, just to, I'm a student of history. The last impeachment in England happened in 19th century, 18th century actually, Warren Hastings. It took 8 years. And it was the last impeachment in England. So as we are within...
When I smile, it appears to be giving you some impression.
No, I'm just telling you that...
You've asked for 14 days.
No.
Wait, you've asked for 14 days. The members have said they'll give you 14 days. So you are reading too much into nothing.
No.
Yes, yes.
No, I was just telling history. I was just telling history that the impeachment of England took 8 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
This history that you've read, we've also read. So it's fine. If you'll be ready within 2 days from today, that means by Thursday, you provide the Hansard copy to Mr. Kipkorir. And Mr. Munge, you are saying that you may not need that. You've been taking notes or something. So that you'll be ready by end of Thursday.
We are talking, my team has been very efficient. We've been working on it, we've been taking notes, we are good.
Every time you say your team has been efficient, you must be saying that...
Chairman, I want to respond to Peter.
Yes.
Because when he talks about being efficient, Peter is part of the tribunal, which is a fact. So maybe he has access to the dictaphone, the answer report in advance, which I don't have access to. I don't have an issue with it, by the way, because it's part of the team. I don't have an issue with him getting access to the answer.
No,
it's not an issue.
Yeah. The resources available to him for purposes of this tribunal will not be available to you. So that when you ask for 14 days, we will give you 14 days. Okay? And so, it's when does time begin to run? So by Thursday evening, you get your submissions and copy of the Hansard. Now, so the next, the next question would be, would you require oral highlighting, or you will, once you give us your submissions, we will be through with that part of the hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I prefer we do the written and then we highlight maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know.
I hear him, and my Lord, Mr. Chair and members, I think what was pushing me to 2 days, and my team is just reminding me, was a provision of Rule 21.
Rule?
21.
That?
And Rule 21 says that the report of the tribunal and its recommendations shall be delivered on a date affixed for that purpose, but not later than 7 days after completion of the hearing.
We must read hearing to mean...
Submissions is hearing.
Yeah, submissions and the highlighting of submissions.
Yeah, that's hearing.
So that's fine. Yeah, that's
then I stand guided.
Thank you. So that calculate 14 days from Thursday, because then we must convene for purposes of highlighting. So it means that by the time we then come for highlighting, you'll have not only completed your submissions, but you also have served. Okay? But time begins to run from Thursday. Yes.
No, I think so that we don't fall foul of the law. We come for the highlighting maybe some days after we've filed our submissions. So that we...
No, I must accommodate you and accommodate him.
Yeah.
You have accommodated, you used it, 14 days. So on the 15th day, we come back for highlighting. That's what I'm saying. So those who are calculating, So on 9th February at 10, we'll schedule for highlighting. Mr. Munge will go first, and then you will go second, and then he'll have the usual second bite at the cherry, isn't it? But then how much time? You proposed 10 minutes, but that's...
15 minutes each. 15, and then rebuttal.
Okay, yeah. 30, okay. Then 10 minutes. Fine? Thank you. So once again, thank you very much.
Chair, before you pen off.
Yes.
Before you pen off, I had sought for a copy of the answer at the ruling. I don't know if the chair can pronounce himself on timelines when we are able to get it, so that we can seek redress as urgent as possible.
I will communicate with you. The Hansard should be ready. It's Hansard, isn't it? For his purpose, for the purpose of the application, but the ruling should be ready latest, today is Thursday.
Latest, much obliged.
Latest Thursday.
Much obliged.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is NTV.